What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. What we're doing today is adding a butt ton of mulch to the food forest because I got an experience from this past year, and experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. And so I learned what it was about having a frost, and we haven't had a frost like we've had like several nights of like freezing temperatures in like 10 or 15 years. Did some research on it. Turns out we're entering into a solar cooling period. So over the next 10 years, 15 years, we can expect lower temperatures. We'll see how that plays out. But nonetheless, got toasted roasted on the mango tree. It was beautiful, had flowers. They were all about to bud. I was like, man, I'm gonna get like 80, maybe 100 mangoes this year. Last year I got like 10. It was the first year that it ever fruited. And well, we're gonna use this year to build roots. That's what we're gonna be doing. Blueberries are looking good, but what I am doing that I learned after I started the food forest is I am adding a tremendous amount of mulch. And by tremendous amount of mulch, I mean like literally adding 2 feet or so of mulch. I'll have to go stand in it so you guys can actually see how obnoxious these piles are. Not gonna put it around the root base because it'll literally cause things to rot. This is a beautiful cherry tree. It was killing it, was crushing it. I see some life though. I see a little bit of life there. I see a little bit of life at the base. Anyway, I'm not gonna pile up on the base of the trees too much because that'll cause rot, and that's not what we want at all. But nonetheless, you can kind of see I'm serious about getting mulch. It's like definitely gonna be waist high. Gonna bring it down, excuse me, bring it down a little bit when it's all spread out. But nonetheless, I'm bringing it in about 18 inches to 2 feet or so, because I learned that after I got most things planted. I did a good job of building up mounds and things like that prior. I did 2-foot mounds. You can see how beautiful this dirt is now 2 years after the fact. Like, it's just beautiful. But mulch is literally like, what we're trying to do is we're trying to emulate a forest. And so we're trying to bring in all these browns rich in nitrogen, let them break down, let soil roots get in there, let the internet, I can't pronounce the word, the micro, whatever. I'll have to put it on the screen, not to go look it up. I can't pronounce it. I should just learn how to pronounce it. But nonetheless, we want that to build throughout. It's basically like a fungus in a way. Some existing mulch, just to kind of show you the layers that are happening there. That's I'm gonna go ahead and drop it in there, where it's like a network. It'll help absorb water, help transmit nutrients between different types of crops, different types of trees. And we're just gonna build this up this year, and we're gonna build an insane amount of soil because we're not gonna be getting any harvest. I mean, look at the avocado tree toasted, cut it back, hopefully it does well. Cut this guy back, a little bit of green there. Looks green inside when you scratch it, hopefully that'll make it. But everything absolutely just got completely toasted. We're not gonna have any yield this year. And good learning lesson, good way to prevent it. We can basically create smudge pots or whatever they're called, where we can like light up diesel candles, essentially is what they are. They like hold some diesel fuel on the bottom, got a wick, you light the thing. Grove heaters is another way of calling them, but I'm gonna get some of those built this year or bought. And a buddy wants to build them. I found a dude in California that sells them. It's kind of funny that they come from California because it's pretty much banned everywhere these days. And yeah, so I'm gonna bring in, just brought in 4 Compster truckloads of mulch. Compster's like 15-yard truck or whatever. So and I'm gonna go ahead and move it here with the tractor, and I'm just gonna start piling things in here. I'm actually gonna cover the paths. I did some fill dirt here on the paths. I'm gonna build like a foot of mulch on top of the paths, then I'm gonna add fill dirt on top of that. Reason being is that it'll be nice to walk on, it'll shed water nicely, but also create a good layer of soil that's going to break down, so that the roots of, say, this tree, this can make it on over here to a lower area of water, and vice versa. Allow the worms and microbes and all that stuff to be able to get underneath the pathway, but yet still have something nice and solid to ride on with the tractor. And because I'm not putting any concrete on it or anything like that, it's going to be fine to mix that into the fill dirt. And we're just gonna, yeah, we're gonna build soil this year. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take it as a learning experience, build soil, get this thing done, because I really haven't like completed it yet. I mean, I'm always squeezing in a few plants here, a few plants there, but I think after I get this mulch in, it's pretty much going to be done. As far as this section goes, I'm going to go ahead and expand and move these bamboo are harvestable now. So those will be popping out. We're going to expand it like an L pattern that way. That's going to be for like our annuals, stuff that you plant and you harvest 90 days later, 100 days later. I'm going to put 2 feet of mulch on that before I fence it. So we're going to do a real ton of it. And then I'm going to go get 2 feet of compost. So it's going to be high. And then we're going to make it into like windrows and we're going to start planting it. And over time, it'll break down. Typically with mulch, it'll break down to 1/4 of what it was. So if you put 2 feet there of like wood chips, you can end up with like 6 inches of like really good composted material. And so over there, I'm going to do that. I'm going to fence in over this way. I'm going to spread that out. So we're going to expand that way. And then we're going to expand out this way towards the house. Just because I realized I want a lot more space. I started doing the math on it. Originally, when I started, it felt like a big area. And then I was like, when I started doing the math, like on how much it would yield per year and all of that great stuff, I was like, yeah, we're going to need like a lot more. Because my real goal here is to be food independent. That's one of my main goals over the next 3 years, is to be energy independent. I've started that process with the trucks, biodiesel, waste oil, stuff like that. I've been doing that for a long time. Actually, I started doing that like before 08. But I want to get completely like on solar. I've already got well. I've got rainwater collection, all that stuff. But I basically just want to get like completely out of the system as much as I can. I talked a lot about the financial system in here. I think that that's key. We all kind of have to still interact with the beast system. But I think at some point in time, the writing is on the wall. Unless you fully comply, they're not going to allow you to. And it's just my opinion, and I'm going to absolutely crush it during that time period because I think it's all going to fail. Not that I hope that it fails anytime soon. I love the fact that everything is still functioning. But the path we're on is clearly not sustainable, and it's going to literally end in a complete economic collapse, a war, maybe both. And that's real talk right there. I don't think there's any way of avoiding it except for maybe being a warrior in a garden instead of a gardener in a war. And that's what that's what I'm going for here. Loquat looking amazing. We're going to get some yield off of the loquat this year. I've already got some stuff forming on that guy. I've actually got 2 more of them planted. I've got 2 more of them in pots. So yeah, good learning experience. We started this thing. I planted these guys several years ago when I was renting. I was renting a home, and I got this from a lady on a project. She gave me that she just gave me that as like a gift, and she brought it over as a seed from Italy. And I was like, that's a pretty cool, unique, tree to have. So anyway, I had that. I planted this. I bought this from a nursery. I really wanted a mango, and then I eventually bought land, and then those are the first 2 things I planted out here. I built a mound. I planted them in here, and then I've just started working everything from there. I've got some pineapples. They got toasted in the frost as well. Just got another 20 of them from the store. They're giving me, the grocery store, local grocer is giving me the tops of them. Like, they have a little cutting machine where they cut them off and chop them up and dice them out, sell them off. So anyway, I'm getting those things for like free right now. So I'm stacking as much pineapple as possible. I can make like rum with them. And I'm a fan of pineapple, cherries, olives, avocados, citrus, all that stuff. And anyway, so my goal here is to literally be food independent. And mainly, I really just don't know what's in the food these days. Like, a lot of it is just, man, like I was learning about strawberries and stuff and looking at some of these strawberry fields that are about an hour north of here, and nothing grows in those fields when they don't have strawberry crop in there. Weeds don't grow out there, nothing grows out there. I learned that strawberries are one of like the most poisonous plants out there, like as far as the crap that they toss on it. And so I'm just trying to get to the spot where I don't have strawberries yet. Those are a winter crop. I need to start those in the fall. But next year, that's kind of my goal, is like continue to add to that and then create enough of it. Typically, I'm learning the first year, you're not going to get tons of yield. And I encourage people, if you're going to do, like I got a buddy who's like, yo man, I just stacked up 25 years of seeds. I'm like, great, have you tried any of them yet? No, but if I need them. And it's like, dude, it's going to take you 3 to 5 years to really get to knowing what you're doing. And then you're going to have years like I learned with this frost, where it's like, okay, I probably didn't lose all of my crops, but my crops are too small to have really made it through that frost. That means my yield is gone. So, the 80 mangoes I would have had, the, 100 avocados I would have had, all that small stuff. I mean, in future years, I expect to have thousands of all of those avocados and mangoes, because I've got several mango trees throughout here, and each one of them should yield a few hundred. And, but, nope, no yield this year. Like that's, 22 is going to be like a really chill year. I mean, we'll have tomatoes, we'll have blueberries, we'll have stuff like that, but we're going to utilize this to build soil and ultimately just to be able to feed ourselves like good, healthy, like stuff that comes from the dirt that's rich in iron. Like I know where everything literally came from, and I mean, it's as organic as it could possibly be. And I think that that's going to have amazing like long-term health effects, and that's what I'm really going for. Is like our grapefruits, and we'll probably get a few grapefruits this year, but like, I want to be eating that on the daily. I want to be able to freeze this stuff, freeze my strawberries once a year. And I mentioned strawberries because it'll be 3 to 4 years from now before I actually have strawberries figured out, and I have them frozen and I have them in a smoothie every morning. Like it'll be that long. It'll take that long for me to really, really dial that in. But strawberries, blueberries, avocados, all that stuff. And I'm learning, like, as I'm talking with guys in different parts of the country, different parts of the world, you can grow almost anything anywhere, especially if you've got a little infrastructure, a tunnel, or a greenhouse, as we call them. If you've got that stuff figured out and you've got that stuff in place, I've got a buddy that's growing like bananas up in Alabama right now, and he's growing citrus up there. And like, I know Jim Rickards. He's got a greenhouse outside of Boston. It's really like on the edge of New Hampshire, and he's growing limes, which is crazy. I've got a lemon tree too, but he's growing limes, and he's got them in his interview on his desk and stuff. And so you can grow stuff anywhere. You just have to figure out how to do so. But I would encourage everybody to. I think that food is just going to go up in price as they continue to print the currency worthless. And I think it's going to get harder and harder to trade for, and things like avocados, for example, that are almost always produced in a foreign nation or land. They're going to be harder to transport over the border at higher cost. And so I think growing them here is going to give you a mad upside if you're the guy that can bring them out to a farmer's market and make a few $1,000 on Saturday mornings. So anyway, that's what I'm going for. We're gonna build soil because I messed up this year. Didn't really respect the frost as much. I covered everything, but I didn't really. I wasn't on top of it as much as I should have, and now I learned. And also learned that I need soil, and I'm still a couple years away from that. So that's one thing I encourage everybody. You can get this stuff for free if you're in a decent location where tree guys will drop chips. I call them. Chip drop app is okay. I always hear bad things about like, hey, no one ever shows up. Just call them. Ring, ring, ring. You see them on the road, stop and say hi, give them your address, get chips. And it'll take 3 to 5 years for that stuff to really break down. But man, I'm glad I've started collecting that stuff like 1.5 years ago, because even though it's not broken down yet, in another 1.5 years, it's gonna start to be like nice black dirt. It's also gonna help regulate the water in there. So like when things are really wet, it actually helps dry it out. When things are really dry, it helps keep it wet. So we're gonna fill that entire area. Holy cow, the mound is crazy over here. We're gonna fill that entire area right now with the tractor, and then I'm gonna get on the pitchfork, and today and tomorrow I'm gonna be putting that out, and then I'm done with it. Then I don't have to deal with it. Then once a year I'll come in and just add like a little 6-inch layer on top just to like knock down the weeds, add 6 inches. I'll probably let the chickens run around there from time to time. They make a mess of everything, but I'll let them fertilize everything out. And then we'll slowly be moving into this process. I'll add aquaponics later. I'm starting to become more of a believer in it, but I really want the fish waste. I really want the fertilizer aspect of aquaponics. And I got the chickens going on. I'll add additional animals in 2 or 3 years out. Like I want to add a couple cows, maybe a couple pigs, and then we'll be like really be doing it. And my main goal this year is like five years out or so to basically just be doing it. I don't want to say full time, but like a solid side hustle where I can really debate, like, do I want to go run, do I really want to go run any projects for customers, or because I do that now. I mean, with the with the stuff I've got, I go and do projects here and there, but sometimes dealing with customers is a pain in the butt. And I think I just want to accumulate more land, develop it, rent it out, or farm it. And so I think my big thing over the next decade is like maybe really go ham with the regenerative farming thing. I really like the farm life. I really enjoy it. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and jump in the Kong here and get it done. All right. Well, let's see how we did. Got a ton of mulch. Gonna get in there on a pitchfork and get it off of these trees, because I definitely don't want to try to kill these any more than they may already be. And I'm gonna spread all this out. Yeah, this looks good. This is gonna come out nice. We're gonna have a ton of good dirt. Gonna be a couple of years from now, but it's gonna be a healthy spot. Once I get all this spread out, everything watered in later this week, I will probably start introducing some worms I've been growing into this just to help that soil along. And it doesn't look that great right now, but maybe in a year, probably a year, because I've only started planting and getting all this fencing up like a year ago. So probably within a year, it'll be looking very, very different in here. And we'll have some really great black dirt. So thanks for following along, guys. Thanks for likes. Thanks for the comments. Any questions? And please start growing something. I think that's the way forward. Get to know someone that's growing something, even if it's just like eggs, and you just start buying from a local place. I think that is going to be very, very beneficial moving forward throughout the decade, moving into Agenda 2030. And I do think it's all going to epically fail. And that the later part of the 40s are going to be 40s and 50s, probably some of the best times for humanity that we've ever seen. But I could be wrong, and we could all live in a futile society by our government overlords. I don't think it's likely. Anyway, guys, have a good one.